Speaking
Oh
of
yeah.
horror, I think one of the things that people will really love about this adventure, even if they, even if they just strip the adventure for parts,
Mhm.
will be some of our darling children.
Our
Concepts that
children.
I came up with and kind of passed to you, putting them in your the capable hands of your horrifying and devious mind to create. Um,
Yes.
do you want to talk about our horrible progeny a little bit?
Our horrible children. Yeah.
Ye Yes, I
So
know you can't give me a lot of information, but, like, what is the Netherdeep, and who are some perhaps, charming denizens I might encounter on my way there or inside it or whatever you wanna share?
for me, the Netherdeep has always been the ooh, I hate to say logical endpoint of the question, what's at the bottom of the ocean, but also it is spawned from the absolute horrifying and also um really intriguing ideation on what kinds of terrifying monsters would exist in a fantastical deep undersea environment. That kind of environment where there is no light. Um, the kind of environment that we do see in real life in the depths of our ocean. A lot of the monsters that James and I created started out as iterations on real life creatures, real life things that we can find in our actual oceans, and then just ever so slightly putting fantastical spins on them. One of my
I
favorites is. Oh, would you like to share your favorite of our children?
Oh, I want you to share first, Mackenzie, but I just want you all to know that I I made my marine biologist friend kind of wince with like horror when I talked about these creatures.
Mhm,
That's a feat. They're
They're,
tough.
they're scary, of course, but also because
mhm,
there was a certain point at which we'd used magic as an excuse to kind of warp their biology beyond anything that could
mhm.
feasibly considered realistic. That this person who loves legit like anatomically feasible science was like,
Mhm.
can't do this. It's like it sucks for you. It's magic, and I don't have to explain anything. I don't have to justify
It
myself to
yeah,
you.
it's like it has a basis in reality, and then we took a sharp left.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Alright, so I've
But
got
it,
2, would you like to take the jellyfish and I take the crab? Or
yes, I will absolutely do so.
um
I'll start with my favorite then. This is a creature. You can find illustrations of them in a recent comicbook.com interview with Chris Perkins. But this first creature I want to talk about is the Death Embrace, which is a massive uh, jellyfish-inspired creature who has a cap made of stone veined with the sinister and mysterious element called ruidium that bubbles out of the Netherdeep. And beneath that is sort of a tangle of lacy fine tendrils, and beneath which further span 60-foot long tentacles ending with nasty barbed hooks. And if that weren't bad enough, that lacy mass of inner tendrils, once a living creature has been retracted into them, have the ability to petrify any explorer unfortunate enough to get trapped within it. And of course, that's horrifying for you as an adventurer who wants to explore the Netherdeep. But beyond that, I really wanted to do some work. Hey, there's the image. Look at that. We have access to that.
look
Fancy
at
that.
it.
Um,
It's
but
beautiful,
beyond that,
our
if you see
baby.
if you see that lacy mass, there's another illustration of a smaller, sort of bottom of the food chain critter here in the Netherdeep called Sorrowfish. They're kind of the baseline that everything within the Netherdeep feeds upon. And kind of like a clownfish hiding within anemone, these Sorrowfish are immune to the petrifying effects of these tendrils, and will often kind of hide among them when pursued by predators in order to escape out. So,
That's
despite my
so
marine
cool.
biologist friend's horror, I did my best to kind of imagine a feasible ecosystem for these
Mhm,
otherwise completely unfeasible creatures.
mhm. Yep. And
Claims
my
they're not
personal
real.
favorite,
Cold comfort.
yeah,
Mm,
it's
mm,
they're not real, but you know,
mm.
I don't know how much that helps.
We haven't fully
My
plumbed the depths of
personal,
the ocean.
yeah.
They could be. Sorry, I'll stop interrupting you,
Mm,
Matt. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. I'm just like I was like, if we start having ruidium start coming up in our oceans, I feel like we have much
Mm,
bigger problems than like
mm,
maybe the jellyfish.
mm,
I'm just, mm,
mm.
but those are spoilers for the book, so I cannot
Mhm,
elaborate. Um,
mhm.
my personal favorite is one of the is I think perhaps the unexpected monster. It is based off a crab, and I think crabs are criminally underrated, terrifying creatures. Um, I have been on record for espousing my love of the coconut crab. In that coconut crabs are real life monstrosities that should not exist because those things can hunt birds. They will climb trees and hunt birds.
Wow.
And like, if you ever want to see a real life example of sneak attack in nature, go watch coconut crabs because that is a sneak attack in a nutshell. Um, and so I was very pleased when one of the beautiful monsters that James presented on the slate to me was a crab-like creature that one of its main features was that it could sneak up on prey and surprise it, um, which is super fun because love I love monsters that don't always look menacing at first, and catch potential hapless adventurers by surprise. And so instead of a coconut crab's, it has its pincers and such. This terrifying beastie perhaps maybe has a maw hidden within its shell that can burst out and bite you. And they hunt in packs. Which,
We
if that isn't if the surprise maw wasn't enough, there's usually more than one.
we
Mouth
call
where
this
mouth should not
creature
be is a classic just run the other way kind of feature, you know?
Yes.
we call this creature the serpent maw for a reason, and it's because this additional appendage um, is a horrifyingly long, sort of fleshy thing that ends in a mouth that can constrict
Mm.
and snag prey. And so, just because,
We
as if a
fleshy appendages.
halfling-sized crab wasn't bad enough. Yeah, yeah. DMs, if you want to squick your players out, just put fleshy appendage in your hat. Um, but yes, if halfling-sized crab wasn't bad enough, sort of xenomorph mouth, I think will give them something to freak out about.